Hey everybody, how you doing? I don't know what happened. Rob just kind of disappeared. So how's everybody tonight? How's it going? I'm so excited for this show. I'm hoping he'll show back up. We're going to be talking about vampires and werewolves and mummies and Frankenstein and the Invisible Man, and it's going to be so much fun. But Rob,
Bridget, I've been here the whole time. Where's everybody at?
Rob,
Can you see me?
what's wrong with you? I can see your hat.
Okay.
What happened?
I was trying a new potion. Okay. And don't know what happened. And here I sit. So I need, Halloween. I'm the Invisible Man. Holy crow. What does that mean? When we talk about the Invisible Man,
I don't know, but listen, there's some creepy stuff going on. I think you need to say your protection before we even start, because I don't want that happening to me.
Okay, thank you. Go right ahead. Let me see. I might have to go drink another potion and see what's going on.
All right. Well, I think I'll say the protection. Okay.
Thank you.
I'm angels, guides, ancestors, universe. Please wrap a bubble of protection around me. Wrap a separate bubble around Rob and the rest of our crew here during this live to protect us from whatever wonky business Rob has gotten himself into this evening.
Oh, man.
So mote it be, okay? But
I can't see my hands either. Oh, no.
Dude, what is going on?
You know what? I thought I would always be fun being the Invisible Man, but I don't know that I would like it not being seen at all.
It's got to be lonely. Isn't it lonely?
I would think so. Right now it feels it. Now, I'm going to have a little fun with Gillian later, so popping in and, but eventually at some point she's going to get tired of that, me just popping in and going, hey, what's up? But is that not a fear for everybody? I love Halloween. I love this Halloween special.
I think the representation of the Invisible Man is the fear of being unseen, Rob.
Oh, is it? The fear of being unseen.
Yeah.
Okay.
And here's the thing, the scary part about it, you have no fangs, you have no fur, no bandages. It's just emptiness. There's just nothing there. It's got to be lonely, it's so easy for people to just even forget you're there. And it's terrifying, at least for me. It's terrifying. So here's Gil says, perhaps to lose a sense of where you are implies the danger of losing a sense of who you are. Gil, that's absolutely was just what I was getting into next, because, we can spiritually forget. We can spiritually make ourselves invisible, and we forget our light, and then we fade from ourselves, and we sort of become this shell of a human being. And I think that's scary. I think that's more scary than people not being able to see me, is me not being able to see myself. What do you think, Rob?
Right now, and let me tell you something, it makes it hard, like to hold things, to touch things. It's deeper than what. So yes, I think, and while it seems like it would be great to spy on people, but if you have to live like this, I think it is a deep-seated fear that, nobody sees me. I become irrelevant,
right.
And nobody wants to be irrelevant. And, that would be one of the things I think everybody, like, we've all been in that place where we feel a lack of appreciation, or whatnot. And Halloween lets us get into some of these. But look at what's going on. It's fun to do things like this. It's fun to find out. But then imagine if you're stuck like that. If you're stuck like this, things like this are going on, and then nobody can tell if you're smiling. Nobody can tell if you're sad. Nobody can tell. You have to tell them, and you have to put things on to say, see as much of me as you can. Absolutely. So I mean, it would be very, very weird, to be walking around like this.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I absolutely do not disagree at all. I would not. I think it might be cool for a little bit to, kind of be nosy and whatever. But I'd want to be able to fade in and out of that. I would not want to be this way 100%.
I hear you. Yeah, I hear you. Like even trying to drink a cup of coffee, it's like I can't tell the distance. Yeah. Let's see what happens. So, well, I didn't burn myself.
maybe it'll start bringing you back. So, hey, I was thinking, why don't I pull a card?
Okay.
For all of us here in the room about what we need to know about our fear of being unseen.
Ooh, I love it. I love it. I love it.
So, currently, I'm working with the Universal Monster Tarot deck. It's a really cool kind of deck. So let's see what pops out for us on the Universal Tarot deck. All right. So I got the Five of Pentacles, right?
Wow.
Which is interesting because...
Very interesting.
What does that represent? Grief, loss, things that stuff that you don't think that you're missing, that maybe you once had that you don't have, right? How do you feel about that?
And you know what just came to me through that card and what Spirit is giving me is that's also, how do you get help if nobody knows you need help? Or if you wanted to help me right now with a chore, with something else, or just a problem in life, it's hard to understand. So the ability to even ask for help, like in that Five of Pentacles, is greatly limited if nobody knows who you are.
Right. Absolutely. I don't disagree with you. I think that, and the Nine of Swords. So we've got more even stress and panic and grief. Yeah.
Yeah, the fear, the Nine of Swords, that fear of what's going to happen. Where am I going? Does my wife want to walk? Or, if my wife doesn't recognize me, if my spouse, someone I love, if they start even just ignoring my existence, it's a huge fear, and it's where anxiety comes from.
Yeah, it is. It is absolutely, and I do not envy the Invisible Man whatsoever.
No, I don't.
So, can you guys, any of you, tell us about a time that you felt invisible and what brought you back to being seen? If anybody's in the chat wants to share that'd be really cool.
Yeah, because we've all experienced that at sometimes, like when we didn't matter.
Sure.
Or something, when we were taking a back seat to everything. And I think one of the key things is that feeling unappreciated.
I mean, how many of us go through that at work daily?
Oh my God.
Or even at home, you do your daily grind, and everybody's so used to you just doing. Things get done, and it, they're just so used to you doing them that.
Yeah, and when you tell people, when you're dealing with the kids, when you're dealing with your spouse, why doesn't anybody listen to me? I tell you, you always, Oh, there they are. Okay. See, I couldn't even see my hands there for a little bit. So the nice thing about that, nobody knows if I'm giving you a thumbs up or I'm flipping you off. So there's a benefit. Okay. But what good is flipping somebody off if they can't see it?
Exactly.
So,
exactly. But I think walking up behind somebody and going, hey, man, you're a douche.
That would be funny.
And walking away, just telling them you're a douche and walk away.
You know what? Going to a funeral, all right, and standing next to the coffin. What are y'all staring at? I'm just sleeping.
That's not really me.
We could have so much fun, Imagine just going over to the order. Oh, great party. Nobody showed up. Where's Bob?
That's hysterical. So Cynthia was saying that shortly after she got married, she was invisible until bedtime. And for a long time, that was a sad and lonely feeling. But it's much better now. I don't, Rob, you're the resident dude in this shindig.
That's not uncommon. People start to feel the only reason you're with me is for certain things or whatnot, but also that we start feeling taken for granted. Okay, that our wishes aren't important, that what our dreams seem to go, back. Guys go through it as well too. Of you used to do this, you used to do that. We've heard all these arguments before. We've seen and know of people that have broken up because their relationship just changed. And a lot of times in that communication department, where the huge thing goes, is somebody feels like they're not being listened to. And that's, or you're heard. There's a difference between being heard and being listened to and understood. And that causes a great deal of problems,
Well, that was my question as the resident dude. I mean, because I know I speak for a plethora of females in saying, a lot of women have that feeling. But I didn't know if it was as prominent in men, in guys, as it is in women. But I guess it's just in a different way, like not for the same reasons.
Right. It's not exactly for the same reason. Sometimes there are a few times I've seen men go through that. That's all you want from me. And, men will joke about that or whatnot and say, well, then you would love to trade problems with them. But, that either way, that feeling of you're only with me for one thing, or whether it's my job, whether it's my car, whether it's everything that's happening around us. We married a partner, and then a lot of times we don't realize how quickly these things change. You know what I mean? And all of a sudden there's a shift, and yeah, guys feel it too, but they feel it in different ways. They feel ignored. Everybody, it's just everybody needs to be recognized, especially by that person that you love. And if you don't feel, a lot of guys will say, you can love me all you want to, but if you don't want me, I'm in trouble. And that's men from Venus or whatever that thing is, or what. There's a little bit of truth.
Women are from Venus, men are from Mars. Men are from Mars.
There you go. Yeah.
I don't know. I never read that book, by the way. Just so
me either. But I understood the principle real quick.
Well, I always figured we're from different planets, right? I mean,
yeah.
Yeah. It just is what it is. But I don't know. I mean, I'd hate to feel lonely. But how about feeling misunderstood? Or
oh my God.
Out of control of your own body. I mean,
right.
We're talking about Frankenstein here.
Yeah.
Voice. He was created off the whim of somebody, right? And he was made that way. He
Right.
was, he had, wasn't anything that he did to himself or, anything like that, but he was just made by some scientist
And
who had a
even that
desire.
is some similarity to the Invisible Man of him standing there screaming, "Who am I? What am I?" Not understanding their very origin. At least the Invisible Man can understand. He knows what it comes from, but he doesn't understand why nobody's seeing him. You know what I mean? To not understand who you are, a whole lack of perspective on yourself, is huge. I'd be interested to hear if anybody else has ever felt like that or understand what we're talking about when we equate that with Frankenstein, the monster.
Or the fact that, he didn't ask to be created the way he was created.
Correct.
So does that mean he doesn't deserve love and appreciation and all that stuff either? And that goes to also, who's the bad guy in the situation? Is it the guy who inflicted the pain? Or is it the guy who reacts on behalf of the pain? Right.
Right. And if you don't, that whole thing of, I don't know where I come from. I don't know where I equate Frankenstein with that feeling of being completely and totally lost. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. People say I'm this way. You can think of it as almost like a schizophrenia problem or a mind issue where you're like, no, I'm completely misunderstood,
Right.
Because you're telling me I'm being an ass, and actually I'm doing everything I can to show you. Now, I find one of the things I thought was funny about Frankenstein was, they're all Kmart parts, basically. He was digging up.
That'd be normal.
He was digging up parts. The brain thing came from, different pieces or of different types of people. So he doesn't know, what to do, where to go. So that's a very common thing I've dealt with in working with people in a counseling session or whatnot, because they don't know where to go and they don't know what their identity is completely gone.
Right.
And when you don't have an idea or you feel like your identity's been taken away, because remember, he is functioning on the part that at one point he was as a whole person. Now he is, somebody has ripped my identity. I'm somebody new. I'm made up of all these thoughts and different parts. And let me ask you this just came to me. Do you think that, wow, when I move my head and my hat, it's just like, whoa, So, when you feel that way, okay, is that not a way some people feel now with spirit and trying to break out and learn their own path spiritually?
Right.
Like someone like me that was raised up as a Baptist preacher's kid, okay, and now I'm doing everything completely different. Gillian will tell you, I've gone through a lot of turmoil, trauma, trying to figure this out, So, has anybody else felt that way?
Oh, yeah, I have. I absolutely have. I wasn't brought up in religion the way you were, not at all.
Right.
But I was brought up in a family that was very, I don't know. We were just, I don't even know how to articulate it. We were just, my parents were a little neglectful. So I can completely, how'd I do with that?
I understand. I understand.
I can completely relate. in that, and you're a product of that, and you have to. It's been a hard fought battle for you and I both, and I know some of the people in, yes, that is my Ollie on the bed, Venus. Some of the people in the chat who also are finding themselves in these later stages of their lives, and maybe not quite as late as us, but maybe they're entering their mid-30s or whatever, and they're having these crises of identity because they're a product of where they came from, and they're suddenly realizing out in the real world that what was maybe an acceptable behavior or an acceptable thought process or something that was societally where they came from okay, when you're out in the great wide open, right? Suddenly people are telling you that what you've known your whole life is untrue or false or maybe even racist or sexist or misogynistic, whatever. So, you have to, and now you find yourself kind of remaking who you are. That's a huge thing. That's a huge undertaking for anybody, I think. But
absolutely, I know one of the things that I was always angry at my father about, I had a total misunderstanding about love, because I know my dad loved me in his own way, okay? But I was more of a piece of property expected to, I had to make him look good. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. I as a child of a preacher, I would expect that the expectation for you would be not to show your ass. You are on 100% of the time, all the time. There's no room for you to be anything other than 100%.
Correct. So, oh man, did you see the full moon?
I did see the full moon. It was actually beautiful. I'm sure we all did our full moon manifestations. What do we want to release and what do we hope to bring in? I posted a post on my Facebook page about that. And I went ahead and said that one of the things that I was trying to release was my feeling of not being good enough. What were you looking to release?
One of the things I was looking to release, Gil and I went outside and I think I got bit by something. I'm not real sure, but I've been a little quirky besides the visibility thing I got going on. All right. But, one of the things I said I wanted to release was actually some procrastination. Okay. Knowing some things I should do. Fear, and I think it's like a fear of failure, So I wanted to release that.
Right.
So, hey, let me jump off here for a minute. Okay. Cause something crazy's going on. All right. Hold on. All right.
Yeah. Is everything okay? Because
I'm trying to I'm trying to figure it all out because I got so much going on and everything.
Well,
what the hell was that? Oh my God. Let me see what's happening. What's that?
I don't know what's happening over there.
Wow. I don't know what's happening. Everything else. What the hell?
Rob, what did you do now?
Open the curtain and there's a full moon. Oh, it's still out there. Oh,
Oh
what do we
boy.
know about werewolf? I don't want to be a werewolf. I'm
Jillian,
Jesus.
you need to lock the office door. Just don't let them out.
Okay. Lock me in, Gillian.
Yeah, what the hell is right, Gillian? Lock the office door. Oh my God. What did you do?
Man. Oh,
You became
wow.
a werewolf.
Oh. You know, everybody's always said I want to have, you want to have the life of a dog. I don't.
Shit. You don't know what it is.
This is all crazy.
Ay,
This is all
caramba.
absolutely crazy.
Releasing that beast within. I don't know.
So I got to figure it out, bro, because, I
Right?
definitely in TikTok.
Oh my goodness.
So what was the werewolf thing about?
Well, it's about transformation and instinct and the parts of ourselves that we try to hide.
Oh my God.
And so I don't know what's going on with you, but did you know that in ancient Greece, they used to speak of men cursed to become wolves? They called them lycanthropes.
Lycanthropes.
Yes.
I like that name.
But honestly,
and you're right, Cynthia. Boy, the whole potion evidently got all screwed up. Oh my God.
I don't know, but don't you think sometimes though that the werewolf represents each of us when we sort of lose control of ourselves? We get angry. We kind of pull a nutty, so to speak.
How many times have we done something and wish we hadn't have done it?
Yeah. Well,
when we lose control, when we get mad, or one of those things. It's about transformation. So hold on, I feel like I'm transforming back. Hold on just a second. Oh, Alpo, I need Alpo.
It better not be contagious, Deborah. Gillian will have his head.
Oh, goodness.
Oh, my gosh, Rob. What is going on with you tonight?
Oh, my God. So much happening.
I don't know, man. So I'm going to ask you guys out there that if you could safely unleash one wild part of yourself tonight, what would it be? Would it be your creativity, your honesty, your voice? What would be that one part of yourself that you could safely release? Do you have a part that you could safely release it? You would?
Oh my God. I tell you what, having all that fur was hot.
I bet.
So what was your question?
I said if you had one wild part of yourself that you could safely release, what would it be? Whether it's your creativity or your honesty or your voice, what would that one point? So Donna says for her, it would be her voice.
Yeah. For me, it would be my voice. Now, do you want to sing, Donna, or is this you just want to be heard? I think that's really good. My spirit that wants to just run wild, be free. And you know what? Cynthia, I love that answer because I see a lot of times that's that big thing that in all of us, okay, that we want to escape. And we see this as an escape because with the werewolf, we're no longer accountable for our own actions.
Exactly.
It's I can do what I say. Those people that are bothering me, I don't have to worry about the morals of or the karma of anything or whatnot. I think that's I want to be heard. I want to be heard. And man, how many people feel powerless right now with everything that's going on around them? Okay. And I think the werewolf part is that I feel powerless. And now I can become this beast. And by God, people will hear me They will look at me, they will see me, you know, and I don't have to care what anybody thinks, you know.
Exactly.
Even a man who is pure in heart and says his prayers by night may become a wolf when the wolfbane blooms and the autumn moon is bright. The wolf man. Absolutely. Absolutely. Because that's our longing deep down inside. We want to just, you know, I'm reminded of in the movie The Shootist, and John Wayne is talking to the mother of the son that has kind of cut up a little bit and acted. He's like, every young man needs to let the badger loose. And, you know, sometimes you do need to go let the badger loose. You know, we need to let that come out, you know?
Well, and I think, I mean, and now you're talking about sort of planned, controlled.
Correct.
But, you know, we're all human, and we have those times where, you know, we step off unplanned and out of control. Maybe for some people it's more often than for some other people, right, wrong, or indifferent. But I think, yeah, I mean, I think the whole point is the werewolf gives you the opportunity to sort of embrace that shadow part of you.
Right.
Where and work with it, right? Rather than just go off half-cocked and be completely unhinged.
Right.
So, I mean, either, you know, if you know at every full moon you're going to turn into a werewolf, you can plan for it. Instead of turning into that werewolf every other Tuesday, or, you know what I mean? You know, it's just some random Wednesday night, right? So,
right. Yeah, becoming a werewolf is not losing your humanity. It's reclaiming your instinct, your intuition, your roar. I think that's very well put. It's reclaiming your power. It is being, nothing can stop you. You know, only certain things can stop you. And I think those things are very powerful in what we do and how we do them. And I think that's something. And folks, as we talk about these tonight or whatnot, I'm always going to do, I just flat got too hot. I'm pouring in sweat from all that stuff. So y'all see more coming up in next week. But, you know, as we talk about these, we always kind of look at these monsters as non-existent, you know, or fantasy or role play. Well, I think if we look at where some of these things came from, like Brigitte is saying, we can find an actual link to, just like we say in the cards, where they're a prototype, a stereotype. The word is not coming to me. That they stand for different things, and from our culture, these monsters have come because I think they did, and people embraced them in order to embrace that missing part of themselves.
Right. I think, you know, way back when all of these creatures were created in the minds of these people, the language was so much more poetic, right? They used just different metaphors for different things. So instead of saying this guy was an abusive ass, they say he's turned into something completely unrecognizable to me, right? He became this wolf, this werewolf. He behaved so aggressively like a wolf. And that, you know what I mean? And I really think, you know, I think it's all born out of experience, but not the experience we think. Like, they didn't really meet up with a werewolf.
Right.
They are involved with a person who changed into something so terrible that it was the worst part of them.
Yeah, that's not your real. That's not the person I fell in love with. This is not, you know, this is not
not
me. That wasn't me.
Right.
Those are different things. I don't have control over that part. So, it's one of those things. So, the spirit have a message for the tribe about how to balance our daytime self with our inner werewolf. That's a good question. So, I'll go here now that I can actually do some things. And spirit, how do we balance? What is it? And I know, like today, there are things that we're constantly bombarded with negative. I don't care what side, wherever you're at or whatnot, we're being fed negativity. And that werewolf wants to come out and start just tearing people a new ass, okay? But we can't. We can't go there, all right? Reminds me of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Absolutely. So, the card I'm getting here right now, let me finish shuffling, okay? And if you want to pull a card, please, Miss Bridget, go right ahead.
I sure pulled one.
There we go.
I got the tower.
You got the tower. Change. All right.
Right.
And so, honestly, one of the cards I got is the King of Cups. All right. So if we're looking at that, the tower has changed. I say that the tower is talking about, in answer to the question, does spirit have a message for the tribe about how to balance our daytime self with our inner wolf? It's going to be, how do we deal with the changes in our everyday? It's the reason we don't love change. I mean, we don't like change because a lot of times we don't know how to act. It's the unexpected, undo. And the King of Cups in that dark side of us, this is the ethereal tarot deck. It's a shadow deck, okay? That dark side of us, it's learning how to control that emotional. Yeah, you got it. What do you think?
I don't disagree. I mean, I think, the first thing I thought of when I pulled the tower and I laughed was because what does your inner werewolf represent? It represents chaos and a shakeup and something that is out of control and very disruptive. So for you to pull the King of Cups to say, look, you need to get a handle on that. You need to deal with it more objectively. You can't just fall out of the windows and hit the ground and roll around having a fit. You have to step back and say, all right, this isn't the greatest thing in the world, but hey, a shit sandwich never tastes good, Rob. Never.
No, it doesn't.
But you know what I mean? But you have to figure out, you have to eat it. And you have to figure out how can I consume this in the least possible chaotic manner.
Right. I just pulled another card, and this card came upside down, so it's reversed. And I'm going to go ahead and read that reversed. It's the Knight of Swords. And one of the things is when that emotion hits and when the change hits and it's something big, it screws up our plans. Everything that we thought we had, now we're just completely helter-skelter and fear comes in. If you look at this card right side up as the Knight of Swords, and that fear is the mind killer. All right. So when that fear comes in, man, and that transformation hits, we start doing shit we wish we hadn't have done later.
Oh yeah, absolutely. How many times,
Yeah.
Those words, they're here, right? And it's like, oh, just shove it back, zip your lip,
Yeah, exactly. Hey, if y'all got anything else you want to do, or if you want a card read for you or whatnot, we're good. We're on this. We're talking about this. So thank y'all for chiming in. Glad you're here. Any thoughts that come across, pop them in here. We'd love to hear them, love to see them. Okay. And see what's going on with what you think of where this fits in. There's a lot going on out there right now. And Halloween is just a part, and we use it now as a way to kind of escape reality. Okay. And this is, just one of those things that, we're all here. It's a tribe. We're kicking along. So don't be afraid to pop in or say something. So, we're talking about here some basic things we grew up with. Now, you want to know what's really odd? When we talk about the mummy, all right, go back to the mummy for a second. That fear of death, needing to hold on to the eternal, okay? But nobody made that bad except we did it. It was Americanized into a horror film.
Right, because
this was never anything
mummified
bad.
Bodies are creepy. Why would you do that, right?
Right.
If it's not part of your culture, you don't, you know what I mean?
Yeah. When we talk about Frankenstein, and I love you, Miss Frankenstein. I love that. There we go. But, one of the things, and some of the things I was looking at here,
so do you know why what? Go ahead.
No, it's that I'm trying to word it right.
No.
The wanting to play God, wanting to create, wanting to actually be able, from the scientist portion, to say, I have the power to create life. So we're not always reliant on other people, So just some things I was picking up on, and I had made some notes about some of it. And when I was in disguise, I couldn't read them.
You were invisible. You had
glasses on, So it's crazy,
It is. The interesting thing about the mummy is that it was part of an Egyptian ritual. And they wrap their people and mummify them because they wanted the soul to be able to live on forever.
Right.
I find that interesting. And like you said, Western culture went ahead and made it something creepy,
Right.
And really it was just that culture trying to hold on to their memories, right? And their past and keep it as intact as they possibly could.
Yeah.
And I think, when we go back to the Invisible Man and we talk about the loneliness and not being seen, I think there may be a fear. There was maybe a fear of being forgotten over time.
Right. Yeah. Immortality, that being alive, being here, or whatnot. It's funny, before the show tonight, we were actually listening to a little George Carlin, and he talked about, there is no afterlife. There's nothing, it's not logical or whatnot. And that scares the crap out of people, that this is it. And I think for a lot of people, just like in that werewolf we were talking about, the Invisible Man, who am I? What do I become? Frankenstein, what have I created? If this is it, what have I done with this life? And I think that's a huge fear for people. And it's one of those things, and I constantly say it, you say it all the time. You don't like what's going on? Deal with it, change, do something, make the most out of what you have left, and let's see, let's see what's going on. Cynthia, that scares me. I will be back. There we go. So that is one of those things. And, one of the things with the werewolf too, it's about blending in. We don't like having to harness. We do have to remember, when we look at the moon card, the mysteries of life. Most of them have a dog and a wolf, a wild dog, a domesticated dog, whatnot, because we have this nature within us. All right. And it's one of those things where we're tired of not living. We want to live that wild, powerful life, but we want to blend in as well. And society has a way of keeping us from doing it. Am I making sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You are. I think also that card, the wolf, and so the wild wolf and the domesticated dog represent sort of a balance, right?
Right.
Keep it sort of copacetic,
Yeah.
And we recognize we all have this in us, but we need to tamp it down a little bit, and
right.
be a good dog.
Yeah. Yeah. And I get tired of being told. And when I had the mask on, and Helen was like, and I was getting a little stupid, as husbands do. It's one of those things. And she's like, heal. You get tired of society telling you to heal, right, to stop, behave. We have to act within a thing. And at some point, you need to let that go. Now, Cynthia, do you have any memories? And that's one of the things I believe definitely in. We move on, we go on, there's different things or whatnot. Do I believe in a heaven and a harp and we're sitting on a cloud? I don't think so, okay? But I do believe our energy goes out, gets reformed, we can come back, and there are choices that are made with that. What about you, Bridget?
Yeah, I'm sort of on the same page with you. I believe, I have a hard time with we choose the path we walk on in life before we get here. I'm really sort of two minds with that. I sort of believe it, but at the same time, I say to myself, who would choose to be an abused 10-year-old? Who would choose to be somebody who was abused or battered or tortured or held hostage or dying of a terminal illness, or like who would make that choice and why? So, and I'm told that when you're in that sort of soul body or non-body that you're in making these choices, you have reasons. There's experiences, things you want to experience, and you can't wrap your head around it in your human form because it's just too evolved, elevated, for lack of a better term. So for me, I'm like,
and you know what? I'm with you because there's some portion I think that is the human psyche trying to say that we will always be in control. Even in death, we cannot give up control. That we make the choice. And I've even had people on the show that talked about people that chose to come back. And it was a very interesting thing. But in pondering that, what I'm wondering is, now I'm going to go off the deep end, okay? There we go. Yes and yes. Who would choose that? And see, I agree. Reclaim your roar. I'm adding that to my lexicon. Absolutely. One of the things I think, could we all be a piece of God, if we're going to say a God, the ultimate source being the all, the power, the frequency, the energy, and we are pieces of him living, God is living a human experience through us. I don't know if I'm making any sense out of that. So therefore, I don't think we choose to be abused. That doesn't make logical sense to me. Now, maybe it would once I know if I'm sitting there and I'm having an ulterior, okay, this doesn't matter. We're going to go on forever. Well, maybe that would be changed, but that doesn't make any sense to me. I'm with you on that. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, and I being glib, all I can think of is, do you ever fill out like you're going online and you're filling something out, a questionnaire about something, and it's like, okay, out of all these, pick 5 that you want, or that you agree with, or that you'd be willing to tolerate, or whatever. And it's like, okay, who are the people who are picking, torture, abuse, chronic illness, just pain and
loss of a child, loss of loved ones, loss,
right.
that I can't.
Starvation. I'm like, why would anybody? And so, Cynthia says she thinks that it's sort of karma, paying you back from whatever your last go round was. So
Yeah,
you were a bad person in your previous life. Now you've got to reap what you've sown moving forward.
and that's kind of the the Buddhist belief. That it's funny when a lot of people thought that, oh, well, let's do there is a Buddhist addiction therapy, a Buddhist therapy, like AA, different things and all that stuff. There's a Buddhist plan. Okay. Both people that choose, I'm like, you sure you want to do that? And they're like, why is that? Because a Buddhist believes we are always suffering and we're living each and every life until we get it right. And then we vanish. We no longer have to suffer. So when they're dealing with their addiction problems and things like that in the Buddhist thing, they have to write about the pain they hurt people, what they did. It's worse than AA ever thought about being. I never had anybody make it through step 2. They're all like, let's go back to the AA thing, because somewhere in there's forgiveness. Okay. And this one, there ain't no forgiveness. No, I got to pay my debts. So yeah, that kind of could be, I can see happening both ways,
Yeah. I'm not really, I don't know. I
Right.
think about it a lot. Like I believe that we probably, our energy, our soul probably goes back somewhere and sort of regroups, right?
Yes.
And does an assessment, purgatory for lack of a better term, right? You sit back, you do this assessment, you see where you went wrong. Did you learn the lessons? Did you not learn the lessons? And then, okay. And do we have a choice to go back or not? Right? I mean,
right. And that's assuming then that we have kept our individuality. Again, that we have some control.
Right.
And I'm wrestling with that of, do we really have that? I'm wrestling with the fact of when I talk to Spirit or when I talk to Gary, and you were there for the whole Gary thing, and is that really the embodiment of Gary in the spiritual world? Or because Gary was a love ingrained on this person, are they actually manifesting Gary's spirit and they just need to hear it again? They need to know. They need their advice of grandma. They need that. And there are things that come back. So I'm wrestling with some of it because I never want to say positively this is the way it's going to be.
So here's kind of Bridget the Geek again, okay? And Bruce, if he's watching, will be so excited. Ever watch Deep Space Nine? Star Trek Deep Space Nine?
I did not watch it too much, okay. No. So not that I didn't like it. I was working nights when that whole thing was on.
There's a character on Deep Space Nine. So there's these 2 life forms that are sort of
Oh,
and
there you go.
symbiont, or that is that what they call? And
Yeah.
one can't survive without the other. So this one race agrees to host the symbiont of the other race. Her name was Dex or Dax or something like that. I don't know what her name was, but it was like Dax and then the name of whatever this thing was, and that symbiont, when it was implanted in the person, remembers all its previous lives that they were hosted in another person, but so does the person hosting it. So now you've kind of got the joining of the two personalities, of the two lives, of everything sort of just conglomerating into one. And you got to wonder if that's kind of what it is. It's just this mash of all you've ever experienced, and now you're jamming it into this life form that is only capable of experiencing what they've experienced.
Yeah, at one time. And that kind of gets into what I was talking about. Are we God? Are we symbiont with God? Is the creator, whatever you want to call it, the mother, the spirit, great spirit, the cosmos, the all, are we symbiont with that? So therefore we keep reliving, and that's the reason we're having these past life experience. We're moving through different dimensions. Are these dimensions actually, the all, his or herself, itself, are they all pieces of God? I don't know, Deborah didn't, one thing I want to talk about, other forces or interference with our life path. And this is the reason when people come on and go, does he love me? I can tell you what's going on right now. But I'm not necessarily sure that we have been given an actual path to follow, because I don't believe in predetermination. I believe we can make our fate. We can choose what to do, where to go, and how to do it. And when we're talking about other individuals and other people, those people shape our paths. How much credence do we give them? How many people do we let go? How many people do we go like, you're nuts, and we walk away? So that's the reason, as far as fortune telling with this, I'll tell you what Spirit wants you to know right now, okay? But the decisions you make 6 minutes from now, 6 months from now, 6 years from now, could alter that path completely. So that's my opinion. Okay. That is my opinion. People are like, I don't know why I'm here. What am I supposed to do? Well, some of that, I believe, is what you're supposed to figure out for yourself. Where does your heart lie? And I think the problem we're having is society as we know it is trying to tell you what you should do or what you should be, rather than,
letting you become.
Yes. I
don't disagree with you.
Right.
I think, what would you rather? Let's go to our last one, which are vampires, right?
Yeah.
So would you rather?
There's my boys
would
now.
You rather live forever and ever and ever, or would you rather die, rinse and repeat? Die, come back, die, come back, die, come back, or would you rather just live for eternity?
I think, and this gets into that human control part. Okay, I would rather live forever, and I think that's why the whole heaven, we're going to live forever, we'll know what's going on, it'll always be peace, the very biblical heaven. Okay, I think it's why it's so popular, because again, it puts us back into control. All right, if I do this, if I do that, everything's going to be okay. All right, since I don't know what's going to happen when I die, and if I want to maintain control then yeah. But the bad
you don't
part
know
about
what's going to happen in 10 years from now either. So if
you don't.
If you are immortal, you have no idea what the world's going to be in 10 years.
Exactly.
Or 100 or 150 years.
Right. And but I think again that whole thing, one of the movies I watched, one of the vampire flicks that was, again, they've blown them all out. I like my good old fashioned stay with the roots vampire movie. Okay. And Gillian's rolling her eyes. I just felt that. Stop it. Because I absolutely love, and I think it's because of the story and the effects. Okay. Everybody's fixing to roll over. Okay. The whole Breaking Dawn, the last one, the one right before that, yeah, nobody twinkles in the starlight and all that crap. But vampires are a little more real than what we realize. And one of the things is, though, it becomes that would you rather be the lion or be the antelope? It's one of those things, and most people would rather be the lion. And at this point, that's it. So now here's the other part, the bad side of this whole vampire thing, which we play down, okay, is that constant thirst. If you go to the original thoughts of vampirism and the way it originally came out, it was a thirst that could not be contained. That scares me.
Well, see, and for me, that's more addiction, like, to me, right? I mean, that's the way of an addict. And I would not want to live forever in any situation. I would rather rinse and repeat. If I find the prospect of being handed a do-over more appealing than having to trudge through an existence for an undeterminate amount of time. Do you know how exhausting it must be to have to remake yourself over and over and over and over?
I hear you. Here's one of the things, though, where that I really wrestle with that, okay, is if we're supposed to learn something, does this form I'm in and the next form I'm in, is it irrelevant? Is it only the soul? But here's what I don't understand. If my soul is moving on, how can I learn something if I don't remember what am I here to learn? So I've always wrestled with that part a little bit of, wait a minute. If I'm supposed to take this with me, give me Cliff Notes.
But isn't that what your intuition is? Isn't that?
And maybe you're right.
Isn't that voice that you hear in your head that says, I don't know why, but we should, don't walk down that alley, or don't go into that building, or don't take that drink, or how about the one that is just like, decent human beings don't behave this way, or just those voices. Are we really not carrying those lessons with us over and over again?
And you know what? I think you may have just hit something there, because that is a very strong point of, did you learn the last time? We got to marry the bad boy. We got to look at, only the good looking people. We're not taking people for granted. Our addictions just don't go to substances or alcohol. They can go to, the people we're attracted to. Why do we keep bringing in these people into our life? Why do I not break free and have my own free thought? So, I think that is a very strong point about intuition, that's what it is,
I don't know. Just my 2 cents.
Yeah. So there you go. Deborah's right there with you. Yes, isn't that those subtle messages we glad? I believe the Cliff Notes are your conscience and intuition. And so that makes a lot of sense to me. That makes a lot of sense. And I can go there. I can easily go there. Yes, you do remember. Because again, when we think about it, how many times are we making a decision, an important decision, and we know what we should be doing? But that emotional part,
we don't do it. We don't do it.
No, I need to tell this guy or this girl, bye-bye, but damn, she's looking good at the bar.
Right. I was just thinking of that Bad Boy, right? Know it's gonna be a train wreck. It's gonna be a train wreck, but is it gonna be a fun train ride till you wreck, or is it, what's that ride gonna be like? So
yeah, exactly. And a lot of times I think we've gotten out. I think people are having such a mental problem, and I mean that just like it sounds. We have lost track of the voices in our head of, is that really our intuition? We don't trust our own thoughts. We don't trust the messages that we're given. We think we're just rattling stuff around in our head. When a lot of times,
because we have mainstream, I'm using media as a loose term, but I think we have stuff coming to us from the mainstream that sort of gaslights us and tells us that we don't really feel the way we feel, or we don't really think the way we think. And then on top of that, you have different factions of society. And I'm, whether you're leaning to one side or the other, it doesn't matter. Both sides are trying to control the narrative and trying to say, hey, this is what you should think, and this is how you should believe, and this, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what side of the coin you're on. It's two sides of the same coin. It's just and I think that's a lot of it is that's where that mental thing that you're talking about is coming from, because people don't know whether to shit or go sailing, Rob. I mean,
and you're absolutely right. And I think that hits it right on the head with that. I don't care which side it is. There's people, and I believe this is part of awakening. People are like, oh, I want to wake up, I want to be enlightened. Be careful what you wish for, okay? Because it can really shatter you to the core when you start questioning things, because you'll question both sides of society. Y'all are radical over here, you're radical over there, and everybody's trying to tell me what to think, okay? And that part is going, which way do I want to think? And man, when you're trying to do that and have your own, look at how many people make fun of us for believing in spirit, just believing in spirit. Okay. Now they want to, demonify anybody that believe, and I'm talking about both sides. It doesn't matter. Okay. Right. You're crazy if you believe there's something beyond here. And, it's like, wow, I can't go with you there, but boy,
right, it's like people who it's like the arrogance of people. How can you be so arrogant to think that we are the only intelligent life in the whole universe and universes in all of space? Really? We right. are this lonely little lone planet, and we're the only one that's inhabited by, well, for lack of a better term, people. You know what I mean?
Right. Human beings or humanoids or whatever you want to call it.
Whatever, the beings, but intelligent, who are doing the same things that we do for, families and Sunday dinners and theme parks or whatever their version of that stuff is.
Yep. No, I agree. Going to Halloween Spirit and buying stupid costumes and,
Right.
and different, yeah, it's one of those things. And, it's one of those, yeah, I just think you're right. That's it. One of the next things I want to talk about, maybe we can do this next week. Okay. Because we're touching on it now. And like, it shocked me how many people had not heard of 3I Atlas. And I just found out today, Gillian didn't know what it was.
That's
and
that
I brought
comet.
it to her attention. Huh?
Is that a comet? What is that?
That's what people will start arguing about. Is it a comet? Is it an alien ship? Is it got smart life? Not or whatnot?
I don't know a whole lot about that.
Yeah. But it's coming, and they're thinking it'll be within a certain where we could actually have contact by the end of this month. And it is one of those things now where it keeps getting closer, but they're talking about now they can't make up their mind about the trajectory. First, their trajectory was it's going to come in, circle the sun, and shoot back out. Now, I read today somebody has said that trajectory may have changed, which let that sink in, okay? And it may orbit the moon and go back out. Well, this is a very large object. And I'd like for us to talk about that because we're talking about life beyond this as we know it,
But there's also a huge difference between how far the sun is from us and how far the moon is from us. That is a huge, vast, incredible difference.
Right.
And, it's not like they're just like right next door to each other and, I'm just going to make a left at Albuquerque and
yeah.
swing, you know what I mean? I'm glad you got the reference.
Yeah.
but yeah, that's interesting. Very interesting. You know me. I watch a ton of YouTube. I am constantly watching YouTube. YouTube this, YouTube that. And I follow a lot of people who talk, a lot of like podcasts, who talk about things like this and who channel things. And one of the things that, yes, Bugs Bunny, one of the things that they have been saying for the last, I don't know, year and a half is that we are going sometime between now and 2030, there is going to be first contact.
Well, if you remember back in 2020, one of my predictions was we're going to confirm, the government's actually going to come out and confirm there is something going on. And, I was like, whether it's alien life or what. And they did. They actually came out, and when they finally admitted that a lot of these videos, especially the military videos, are, they're actually calling them, we're going to call them UAPs, UFOs, because we honestly don't know. And when our government is telling us we don't know what they are, okay, that was a mind waker to me, So again, we have to open our thought process to there's something bigger than us, period.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm reading Gil's.
Yeah, I know. 3I Atlas is the newest interstellar comet lighting up headlines. Discovered in July 2025, it's cruising through our solar system with CO2 rich glow. Okay, CO2. Okay. From deep space. All right. And even I think, Deborah just said one of the things they're talking about. The scientists are saying it's putting out more light and energy than it's taking in, which means it's self-generating.
Right.
All right. So when you start really looking at some of it, and here's the debate. This is it. Is it a comet or is it actual alien transport? And when we have people actually debating this and not just coming out and slamming it, things that make you go,
Absolutely. I mean, I like I said, all the people that I watch and who channel and everybody, it has been pretty consistent across the YouTube verse of these people that that first contact's coming, and it's coming very, very soon.
It's got no choice. Number one, we're getting, far enough out there. Okay. And I do believe that's where some people want to cut down our ability. They don't want us to believe it, because then if they can sell their own scientific facts, okay, then they're still in control. But the first time we admit there might be something bigger than us, now you're giving up control. And I think control has a lot to do with where we're at now, where we're going, and what's happening, Well,
interesting. One of the talking points over a couple of these people, and if you ask me their names, I can't tell you because I don't remember. I know their pictures or whatever. If I saw their faces, I would say, oh, that guy, he was one of the ones. But they're talking about also, there's been such a huge amount of chatter about timelines, quantum timeline jumping and whatnot. And what they're saying is that, going off of what you're saying, which is, they don't want you, they want to steer you away so that you don't believe, is that, so this is like a point, a separation point for timelines to separate. And there's the timeline for the people who believe and the ones who don't. And the ones who don't are going to go down this way, and the ones who do are going to go down this way. I don't know how deep everybody's brain gets into that. Sometimes I fall down these holes and I start watching this stuff. You can ask Rob, and I'll message him. I'll be like, "Oh my God, this is crazy." But it's just chatter, but it's not idle chatter. It's chatter in all different areas that is sort of coming together. And I find it interesting now how we're coming to this meeting point, right? Between the metaphysical and the scientific and everything like that. So I sit back and kind of watch and say, all right, what's happening? But,
Right. And, again, they're all arguing now, is it a comet, is it a craft, or whatnot? And it's still far enough away. They're still arguing about the size, but Deborah's right. One of the things is 3.5 kilometers, okay? And it goes from 1,000 feet to 3.5 kilometers. But one of the things they're all agreeing on is this cloud that comes from behind it, okay, is CO2, and it's generating more of it than it takes in. So that's the weirdness. As bad as I hate to say it, I think this is going to be one of those things where stay tuned, folks. We're not going to know more until it gets closer, and that's not what anybody wants to hear. I've never heard of any of this, and you know why it came up on me? Because I'm searching alien stuff, conspiracies all the freaking time. And so the algorithm kind of fed it to me. But if you will go on, I know this now, whenever I go on to Google, which is something we all should be afraid of, if you're what you're searching for, AI and Google will give you. If you're looking for bad news, if you're looking for things, guess what? It'll feed you just what you want. That's the reason we can't believe anything anymore.
Right.
Okay. And that's one of those things. Holy cow, that's huge. Yeah, it is huge. It's the size of like a state or something, So lands 6 miles is long. Even Babylon 5 was only 4 city blocks. Equal work. There you go. That's it. That's good. I agree, Bridget. I fall into that YouTube black hole. Absolutely. And it's one of those things where, okay, and if you scroll long enough, have you ever noticed, folks, I want you to think about it. Once you start watching a video and you complete that video, when your YouTube backs up, there's more of that topic loaded up for you to watch. It doesn't keep a huge variety. You know, it does not show you the opposite opinion. If you're watching stupid stuff, you're going to get repeats of stupid stuff. And this is something that we have to be mindful of and find out what's going on. You know, that YouTube black hole, man, it can be devastating. My wife has been like, really? I'm like, okay, time to get up and get going. She's like, it's dinner time. You know? So, yeah, it's one of those things. You know, I was clueless when he said, let's talk about this. Blink, blink, blink. And that's the first time I've seen her actually be clueless on the topic. So, Cynthia, I feel like everything is one big conspiracy theory. Because everybody's got a thought. Nobody knows what it is. You know? We're all trying to make sense of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I agree, though.
So maybe let's talk about some aliens next time. We had Bigfoot, you know. Let's do some aliens next week because they're part of Halloween, you know. And we'll see. We'll figure it out. We'll talk about it. I'll try to come up with some footage or whatnot. And I know Mr. Bruce had some footage or whatnot. And let's see what we can come up with and see if we can't see some real things. And I'll try to bring some footage in from YouTube about 3-Eye Atlas, you know. And
Yeah, that'd be great.
Let's get some different viewpoints on it, you know? So, all right. Well, Cynthia, I'm glad it was fun. But it's an hour and 21 minutes we've been going at this. So, you know, more aliens. Deborah, I'm right there with you. I think they're going to wind up playing a huge role. And I even hit Gillian with the theory when people talk about the Antichrist, when we talk about biblical stuff, we never take aliens into account. And I was telling her, I said, okay, 3-Eye Atlas Parks, okay? And everybody's like, oh shit, that means it's something. Are they coming down? Somebody comes down, they got the right answers, they fix everything. You have framed this up to be the biblical Antichrist, okay? So where are we at? What are we doing? There are so many things. And I think space plays so much more to our creation, to our finality, things like this. I think, you know, you know what? Look, aliens and maybe Sleepy Hollow legend. Oh, I can get into some headless people, as you saw tonight. You know, I've even got a bust of myself, Mr. Bruce made. I have to show everybody that next week. You know, so it's funny. You know, this was so much fun. Yeah, let's find out what's going on. All right. So thanks, Rev Rob, Bridget, Gillian, and Bangarang Tribe. So much fun. We have a good time, and that's the point of Wednesday nights is have a good time, have some conversation, and just know we appreciate everybody here. Bridget, you got anything you want to say?
No, just thanks everybody for coming, and this was a great time. This was a fun one. I really had fun talking about the different monsters and everything, and how they play out in our real lives. But no, I mean, just if you need me, you can reach out. You can get me at Bridget Eyes of the Dragonfly. You can get me on Facebook. Check out my new YouTube channel, Eyes of the Dragonfly, and you know, I'm available for readings if anybody wants to do a reading. And yeah, that's kind of where I'm at.
Perfect. Guys, remember tomorrow night, 8:00, it's out there. I've put it out there. We have a Zoom meeting for anybody that wants to hear and have questions. Ian is going to be back on with me, but we're going to be talking about the X39 and getting patched. I'm not going to go into that tonight. I want to keep what we do pure and simple, but this was very exciting to me. So 8:00 tomorrow night. Look on my on the Tarot with an Attitude, both pages, and the Rob Lee site, and you will find how to be there and get your questions answered. Find out more about it. Okay.
All right.
So with all that being said, Miss Frankenstein, I love it. Okay. Ooh. Okay. Everybody, take what you want. Remember, just like we said with everything else, disregard anything you don't. It's okay. All right. That's what makes us great, is we can all have great opinions. All right. But just leave having experienced some joy, some light, some peace, some love, and knowing that we talked and we had a great time and it was felt by all. Okay. So with all that being said, bangarang, everybody.
Bangarang.